Really, John? For f***'s sake, are we here again? Hi everybody and welcome to the Vegan Mooncat. Today we're here to discuss that renowned philosopher Jon Venus' new video, 5 Dark Sides of Veganism. I know what you're all thinking, how can there possibly be a dark side to veganism? I mean, after all, it's only a load of people not wanting to harm animals, isn't it? Isn't that what it's all about? You'd be wrong. Jon has looked into this matter quite considerably and he's found there are several dark aspects to veganism and he's now going to bring them to all our attention. So let's get stuck in and watch some of Jon's video and see what he's discovered.
Hello everyone, my name is Jon Venus. Welcome back to another video. Today I want to discuss the 5 dark sides of veganism.
The 5 dark sides to veganism. It's so scary, Jon. Guide me through it, please. Please guide me through it, Jon.
These are 5 points that I want to make that I think we can all avoid, no matter if you're a vegan, a carnivore, a vegetarian, a pescatarian, whatever your diet or your preference is.
That's right, Jon. Include everybody in the opening statement to make sure you don't isolate any of those valuable viewers. I mean, a watch is a watch, it doesn't matter who. The video is titled 5 Dark Sides of Veganism, but already, Jon, you don't seem to actually grasp what veganism is, so I'm not really sure how you can talk on the subject. Veganism is about reducing animal suffering and not using them for any unnecessary purpose. I mean, it's absolutely nothing to do with dietary preferences.
Number one thing I want to talk about today is a moral high ground. So this is something where a lot of vegans find themselves in, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in a very obvious public way where you're going out and telling people that they are not doing a good job. It's not about what you do and say, it's about how you feel within yourself. So if you're a vegan and you don't say anything to anyone else, great. However, if you still live life believing and thinking to yourself that you are superior, that you're morally superior to someone else because you're eating a vegan diet and living a vegan lifestyle, then you still have a big issue.
I'm going to speak for myself here, Jon. Not every other vegan in the world, even though I can see you like broad generalizations about specific groups of people. I used to eat animal products for the vast majority of my life into my 40s, and even though I am now a vegan, I don't feel morally superior to every other person in the world who still eats meat, dairy, etc. I just wish that they would make a change the same as I did for the better of the animals, that's all. You're telling people not to feel morally superior because they're not harming animals, and in the same breath, it seems like you're feeling morally superior because you don't feel the same way they do. Isn't that the exact thing that you're trying to say is a dark side of veganism?
Everyone who has a very strong moral high ground and feels superior has always a lot of hypocrisy that we can point out pretty easily.
Just you telling everyone, Jon, that they're being hypocritical is absolutely amazing. You are without a doubt the most hypocritical man I've ever come across in my entire life. Even in this video so far, it's so full of hypocrisy. You're telling everyone not to take the moral high ground, etc. And yet you're taking the moral high ground because you don't take the moral high ground. You're an idiot.
So what I like to point out when talking about moral high ground is the fact that we are all guilty of something that is not moral. Every single one of us does something, eats something, buys something that has a negative impact on something. You cannot live a human life without having a negative impact. And so it's about minimizing, sure, it's a good thing. And that's where the vegans get trapped. They believe that this, lifestyle, this ideology of being vegan is a start to fixing all the world's problems, or is already putting you far, far ahead of everyone else in terms of fixing the world's problem. That's not true.
Ah, Jon, unfortunately you've got it wrong again. Vegans don't think that everyone going vegan will solve all the world's issues. We just think it will reduce animal suffering. That's it. You really don't have a grasp of what veganism is, do you? Not in the slightest. I think myself and many of the vegans out there, Jon, are fully aware we live in the modern world and we can absolutely not eliminate all harm. But what we can do is try our best to do as little harm as possible. We still have to take our kids to school in cars. We still have to call people on mobile phones. We still have to live in the modern world. But that doesn't mean, Jon, that we have to be part of industries that kill billions of animals a year for something that is absolutely not required.
Your iPhone has come from a place that exploits people, exploits, humans, exploits, animals and habitats. It's hypocrisy.
Do you really think that people working in the phone factories or other industries are any worse off than the people having to work in the meat industry? Can you imagine your whole working day is ending the lives of other animals that live on this planet with us? Imagine how horrific that really must be to a human. I'll tell you what, John, while watching this video, every now and again you just do this weird little superior smirk, like you've got one up on people for the point that you've just made. It's very, very disturbing. It almost makes me think you're morally superior to everybody. Not good, John. Not good.
Number 2, anger. Anger is rampant in the vegan community.
Ah! Okay, John, I'm only kidding. I'm not really angry. Not much.
When we go vegan, we feel extremely passionate about the cause. We feel, such sadness and such compassion for the animals. And we want to do right by them after seeing all these slaughterhouse footages. And we get angry at the system. However, it doesn't stop there.
I tell you what, John, you've got a bit of a theme going on in this video. Every time you speak negatively about veganism, it's they. And every time you speak about it positively, like just then, you say we.
Because we're not able to fix the system, we're not able to change the system.
What are you on about, John? Things are changing. I mean, not as fast as we'd like them to change, but they are changing all the same. There are way more vegans in the world. There are more plant-based options in restaurants and supermarkets. People are using different materials for clothing. People aren't drinking as much dairy. Things are changing, John. They really are. I don't know why you can't see it. Maybe if you came down from that superior little pedestal you've put yourself on, John, you could actually see what's happening in the real world and not just in Jon Venus land.
We start, moving our anger from an anger towards the total picture of how, animal factory farms and industry works towards, getting angry at the consumers. We're getting angry at the people who are buying animal products at the store, who are buying meat in restaurants. And unfortunately, it can even spill out into your personal life. You get angry at your friends for not listening to you and turning vegan immediately, or your parents and your family and your siblings.
I am not going to speak for every single vegan in the world, John. I can only speak from my own personal experience on this matter. I don't tend to blame your average consumer who's been brainwashed into thinking he needs all these animal products. It's not their fault. It's just society has pushed this on them, and that's how they've been brought up. The same way as I was for 40 odd years of my life. So why would I possibly get angry at them? The people I do get annoyed at, John, are people like you. People who actively try to bring veganism down for purely selfish reasons. That's the only time I do start to get a little bit angry, to be honest. You preach all this love and compassion and understanding, but really, John, it's just me. Yeah, I'm Jon Venus, look at me.
Number 3 is shame. And this is one of the most destructive ones and important points. When you're vegan for ethics.
Well done, John. You managed to get it right. Veganism is for ethics. Congratulations.
And you go on this journey and you read all the books about health.
I don't think you've ever read a book. Come on.
I have very, very rarely seen anyone openly talk about their health issues, because as vegans, we want to be proud, we want to be healthy, we want to prove everyone and to ourselves that we are okay. And so we don't ask for help, and we ignore symptoms, and we keep going and going and going. And we are so afraid of what our friends would say if we tell them about our, teeth problems or whatever the problem is, the IBS, the digestive problems. People want to keep that completely to themselves, because they don't want to give up on themselves. They don't want to give up on this important mission that they've signed up for and they feel like is their purpose in life.
Have you ever thought, John, maybe one of the main reasons why vegans keep any illnesses they do get to themselves is because non-vegans absolutely tear into them saying, you're only ill because of veganism. It doesn't matter if you get a common cold, it doesn't matter if you break your arm, stub your toe, start going grey. It's all going to be the fault of veganism, and then because of that, people feel justified in eating animals, and who suffers then, John? The animals.
People will just ignore everything and just keep going, and even if they're, farting 100 times a day in front of everyone, they'll just ignore that.
I don't really know any vegans that are farting hundreds of times a day, John, but if this is something that you are suffering with, I can recommend, let me see now, maybe consult your vegan doctor brother, Leo Venus.
And it's a very, very difficult thing for the person going through things, because they feel so much guilt and they don't want to give up. And so it becomes this horrible thing where people run into extreme issues down the line because they didn't do something before it was too late.
There are obviously some vegans out there who are suffering with their health, but then again, veganism is an ethical choice and is absolutely nothing to do with the health of the individual. But obviously humans, vegan or not, should really take care of ourselves. So if anyone out there is suffering trying to transition to a plant-based diet, it's worth consulting an actual professional who knows what they're talking about. And let's not forget, John, animal products contain saturated fat, trans fat, heme iron, cholesterol, and loads of other things that are proven to damage human health. So if there are people out there who are looking to improve their health and avoid the leading causes of death in Western society, then eating a whole food plant-based diet is definitely the way forward, and avoiding all animal products.
Number 4 is identity bias. You form your identity around veganism. I am vegan.
I'm a vegan. I'm always going to be a vegan. That's never going to change. I promise. I swear. I know it.
When you have a strong identity like that, bias always follows. When it comes down to vegans, we are all following only vegan people, almost only vegan people on the internet. We only look up to vegan companies. We only read vegan books. We try to surround ourselves with as much vegan as possible.
What are you on about, John? I know loads of vegans and they don't replace every single thing in their life with just being a vegan. I know vegan parents, I know vegan actors, I know vegan runners, I know vegans that go to the cinema, vegans that walk their dogs, vegans that go out dancing, vegans that see their friends, vegans that watch films, vegans that do every single thing that everyone else does. They just choose also not to harm animals intentionally and try to reduce as much suffering in the world as possible. I can't speak for you, John, so maybe that's how you were. Maybe you replaced everything else in your life with just being a vegan, and that's why you failed. Most of us can still choose to lead a normal life and be a vegan at the same time. We don't find it that difficult. I don't know why you did.
So the more vegan you are, a lot of times you feel like you're the most open-minded because you researched so much and you looked at the other sides and you've debunked everything.
It can't just be me who picked up on how much John absolutely despises vegans from what he's just said there. All his body actions, his movements, his words, he absolutely can't stand us. I think I know exactly what is wrong with John and why he suddenly despises vegans so much. When he was a plant-based YouTuber for over 5 years, people used to go to his channel, they used to watch his videos, they used to say, "Oh, aren't you great, John? You know, you can get along without eating animals and look how healthy you are." And he sort of thrived on that. Then he no longer wanted to be on a plant-based diet. He wanted to do whatever he wanted to do. If he wanted to eat meat, he wanted to eat meat. If he wanted to eat eggs, he wanted to eat eggs. And he just expected everyone that was following him to go along with everything that he wanted to do. But they didn't, because John thought that people were watching his channel for him because he's such a wonderful human being. But really, it's just so they could see how they could thrive on a plant-based diet and absolutely nothing to do with him as an individual, because he's boring.
Number 5, rejection. If your friend that is a vegan activist all of a sudden says that he wants to experiment on his diet and eat a steak.
This person, he surely doesn't mean himself by any chance, does he?
Because he's had a IBS issue for years and the doctor is, keeps saying that he needs to experiment because, it's looking really bad and dark. When that happens, this person gets rejected.
I have a lot of family and friends who are not vegan, and I will not be rejecting them anytime soon. I've also made friends through the vegan community, and if any of them were to come to me with health issues saying, "Oh, I need to eat a steak or I need to eat whatever animal product because I feel this way," I would try to point them in the right direction to get help without having to throw the animals under the bus. But if they ignore that advice and start trying to self-diagnose and introducing animal products in just to see if it works, then of course I'm gonna have a problem.
And I've experienced this myself as well. I have friends who just, told me that they cannot ever speak to me again because what I did in terms of experimenting with non-vegan foods.
You told everyone you were not experiencing any health conditions on a plant-based diet and just did it because you were experimenting to see if it made any difference. And for some reason you expected all your vegan friends and fellow vegan YouTubers to just toe the line and tolerate it. Well, no, they didn't, and why should they? I'm absolutely sure that if you'd reached out to some of your vegan friends, or maybe your vegan brother who's also a doctor, they would have offered you good, solid advice about not having to go back to eating animals. You make it sound like you went out there and you quietly, in the background without anyone knowing, ate a few eggs and ate a few steaks and they rejected you for it. No, John, John, you went on YouTube and other social media actively throwing animals under the bus. You actually started to try and work against veganism, John, and it's of no surprise to me that other vegans wanted absolutely nothing to do with you.
You're not a bad person at all for not being able to sustain a vegan lifestyle, or for questioning it, or for wanting to experiment. You are not a bad person. And in the end of the day, you're gonna find that your tribe and people who are attracted to who you truly are, instead of just having this conditional friendship and conditional kind of community that only loves you as long as you follow a certain amount of rules.
You act as if there's a massive list of things you have to do to become a vegan, John. There's only one. Don't harm animals for an unnecessary purpose. That's it. And you couldn't even do that because you are a selfish little man baby. Well, there you go, everyone. There's another Jon Venus video trying to undo the damage he caused his social media when he decided no longer to be vegan and to harm animals and brag about it. If you've liked this video, please hit subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. You can also follow me on Instagram at @theveganmooncat, and I'll see you guys next time.